James Kaufman, World News Report today, January 15th, 2025. God bless you and yours, no matter where you are in the world. Please subscribe, give us a thumbs up, ring that bell for critical future updates. Ladies and gentlemen, people are still reporting loud booms and sounds coming from under the ground, all the way from Kentucky, as you'll see here, into Oklahoma and Texas. I'm going to give you several examples. One meteorologist claims they're quote-unquote frost quakes. Never heard of it before. Tell me if you have. This is going to be hard to understand because the source was not very good. It says underground tunneling. I have no idea what is going on, but listen to this. There are many that believe there's a war occurring underground, not just America, but across the Western world. So the best way to watch this is to listen and watch the closed captioning.
I have no idea what's going on, but listen to this. There's something under the ground, and it sounds like it's about to bust out. Holy crap.
It sounds like a tunneling machine or something. I don't know. They're saying it's all natural. I'll show you on the other network.
It's over here in the field.
That sounds like heavy construction under there, folks. We need to figure out what's going on below us. Let's listen to one of the meteorologists tell us that what we're hearing are frost quakes. Here we go. This meteorologist here tells us that we're experiencing frost quakes, and this would be the first time ever. All these old-time farmers have ever heard them. This is Oklahoma, but they're actually hearing them throughout Oklahoma and Kansas and Texas. Let's listen to what he has to say. I call BS on this, but let's give him his shot.
Some loud booms in and around the Pauls Valley area and into more south central Oklahoma into northern Texas. And we want to explain the fact that it's a very high likelihood that these loud booms that people are hearing are actually frost quakes. And we'll talk about why the conditions that we've seen over the past few days have actually been very conducive for these frost quakes to take place. And so you'll see that we explain that, again, these loud booms and shakes could be frost quakes. Those form when underground water freezes and expands. And you have to get this water into the ground. And so we've had a lot of snow that's been melting, so you have a lot of moisture soaking into the ground.
What about the horns then? Come on, man.
And as it freezes and thaws every single day, it's able to get lower and lower and lower into the ground. And when it freezes, when we've got these temperatures that are cold, they will expand. So when we know that when water freezes, it expands, and it does so underground, and so obviously a lot of pressure builds up when it expands, and eventually that pressure is released, and that energy produces the quake and the loud booms that you can hear. Sometimes the release of energy can be so strong that you can even see a flash of light. That's actually from the static electricity that takes place. I don't think we've had any reports of those, but these quakes are small and surface-based, but still, they can be loud, they can be scary, and they can even shake your house. But we think that these are frost quakes, and we'll talk about why we think that that's the case. We've had a lot of snow, and it's melting. As you can see with our radar estimated snowfall amounts, some of these totals, again, remain and were very impressive. In and around the Pauls Valley area, we had official measured amounts coming in close to 9 inches worth of snow. So that was a lot of snow to happen last week. And you can see that very high area of snowfall continues into southern parts of the state and into North Texas. So we know this is a very This is basically one of the target areas that Oklahoma saw with the heaviest snow. Obviously, eastern Oklahoma also saw a lot of snow. They saw the most. And even northwest Oklahoma saw a lot too, but very much looks like a target zone across southern into south central Oklahoma for our snowfall totals. You'll see that when we take the radar estimated numbers, and we know that they're a little bit overdone, but we know that it's going to be fairly close. But now we're looking at actual real measurements here, and this is actually of rainfall totals. We know it hasn't rained in the Mesonet. This is basically the liquid water equivalent, and so when all that snow melts at all the Mesonet sites, it translates into the liquid water equivalent, and it shows up as rain, but it works for this graphic here nicely. As you can see, across south central Oklahoma, not only was that an area that had a lot of snow.
Please let me know if you believe it in the comments below, because we got more snow here in Texas, North Texas, than Oklahoma, and I haven't heard of any booms being reported. I've been hearing them reported all across the country and in other countries.
Snow is also an area that therefore had a lot of liquid water, and so many of these spots down here coming in 3/4 of an inch or more worth of water. And that's a lot of water to get and to soak in across a wide area of the state. We also know too that in that part of the state, the soil, it has a lot of sand in it, so water can get down in there, especially after a couple of freeze-thaw events that we've seen over the past couple of days. Another reason too, we know the ground was not originally saturated, and so you've got on our drop monitor that little area there of dry and moderate drought conditions. So the soil was initially dry and was able to really soak in a lot of that moisture as it melts, and now with all of that moisture in the ground, as it again expands and contracts, because we have lows that are usually in the 20s and even some teens, and then highs that are in the 40s. You're obviously able to melt during the afternoon, but it does freeze back up at night. And again, like I said earlier, that constant freeze-thaw pattern basically means that it expands, then the water can get down deeper, it expands more, gets down deeper, and eventually it gets down so far deep down that when it does expand, it can't expand anymore, and it creates those quakes. So a pretty cool thing that we've seen. We'll talk more about it with our newscast later on tonight, but we did want to just give you the web update in case you missed it. And if you have any questions,
so I'm not falling for any of it, ladies and gentlemen. At this point, I call it BS. There's more than just frost quakes going on. Something large like big mechanical equipment is underground, as we all know. They've been training for warfare under the cities for years now. They actually had months of warfare training with special operations here in Houston, Texas, in the underground part of it. So I call BS, and would love to know what y'all's opinion is in the comments below. God bless, guys. Share, subscribe, and always remember, anything's possible. Bizarro world.